Arsenal looking better going forward without Odegaard in the team is something that I actually agree with. Now, I'm not saying that Martin Odegaard is a horrific player by any means, but I just want to kind of get your thoughts and opinions on why you might think that is. Doesn't mean he's not going to play, because he is going to. He's the captain, he's the teacher's pet, and Arteta loves him. But actually, when you look at it, Brandon made some good points there. And I remember Reza playing in every single one of them other than Villa. And yeah, I agree with Brandon. They were the better teams, better side. And I thought last night, again, as much as Eza didn't put up any trees and neither did Marino, I just think Odegaard slows it down. He was woeful against Forest. It was actually quite cringe watching him play, to be fair. It was that bad against Forest. But when you look at what he's been this season for Arsenal, I'm still waiting for Odegaard. And you know when you get called a flip-flop and everyone loses their head? I'm going to call myself one, because I actually have no idea whether I rate this lad or not. Because 1 minute I like him, next minute I don't. Then I don't think he's good enough again. Then I think, actually, no, he's proven he is. Then I'm thinking, no, I am flip-flopping on whether Martin Odegaard has actually got a long-term future here, or if we are looking at him as a kind of Zinchenko, Jesus, we might need to move past you now. I don't know.
Do you know, do you know what it is, Dan? It's so frustrating with him because he's got the ability. We've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it. He's got the ability. But for some reason or another, I've never, like, he's supposed to be this number 10 or the more attack-minded midfielder of a midfield three. And he's probably the most risk-adverse out of all three of them. Zubimendi plays riskier passes than Odegaard at times. Declan Rice certainly does as well. And I'm like, where's that coming from? Because I know this guy has the ability to split defenses with his passing, but it seems so safe with him all the time. And it's not just that it's safe as well, but when you want to sort of get in the opposition's half, especially when breaking down a low block and you need to move that ball quickly, Odegaard is the tempo setter in this team. And he takes far too many touches on the ball. 3, 4, 5, 6 touches before he even moves it on. He needs to be the one to set the tempo and say, look, boys, 2 touches maximum. You know, we'll create a bit of space here, pull players out of position. If we can pull players out of position, that'll give us the space to work in, you know, that sort of thing. But far too many times, this guy picks up the ball, slows it down. We know exactly where the ball's going. It's going straight out to the right-hand side to Saka, you know. And then even worse than that, when he does get himself into decent positions, he very rarely ever shoots on sight. You know, he gets positions to open it up, to be able to have a shot from the edge of the area, and he very rarely does that. So he's one of the most frustrating players in this Arsenal side for me, because he's got the ability, but it just doesn't seem like he's quite with it. Do you know what I mean?
I think positionally that's his problem. I think he's coming too deep. You know, he's not playing as a 10. He's essentially playing as a right 8, which then leaves all that space in between the lines of the opponent's midfield and defence free. You know, when we were playing at our best and our most exciting football, 22-23, you had Granit Xhaka occupying that left 8 channel, and Odegaard was a 10. He was staying forward. At times, he would drop deep, you see, in between the centre-backs at times. But most of the time, he was forward. Gabriel Jesus, at times, in that season, was the one dropping deeper. Now, it seems that space there, Odegaard is a right 8. Declan Rice kind of left 8. That space isn't occupied. So what we're doing every time, we're becoming a one-trick pony, which is why I think people are finding it boring. Playing into Odegaard, we're playing out to Saka out wide. If it's not working, we're coming. Do you know what I mean? It is that horseshoe shape rather than playing through the middle. And I got to be honest, that's what Eze does better. Like, I don't think Eze was great yesterday, but that first goal, he drives through the middle, passes it through the middle. We play through the middle. Then it goes out to Timber, who has the shot, and then Jesus scores. We maybe don't score that goal if Odegaard is in the team. And in my opinion, Odegaard's best game, that Villa game, he was in that position. Think of when Zubimendi made the run. He was in the 10 position. He picked the pass through the middle and we scored that goal. I want him to pick up those positions more. I don't really know why he doesn't. I think it's Arteta. I think it's by design. I watched Manchester City against United. They did exactly the same thing. Foden, Bernardo Silva and Cherki did not occupy the position between the lines, the number 10 position at all. They left Haaland on Martinez and Maguire. And then there was just a massive gap in the midfield every single time. They made it so easy for United to defend. Because if they didn't go out wide to Semenyo or out wide to Doku, they just kind of recycled the ball around the midfield or went backwards, allowed the press. And that's what we do at times, which is why it's boring. So look, if we're going to get the best out of Odegaard, we need to take a bit more of a risk, have a bit less possession in terms of him dropping deep, obviously we have more possession, we control the game. If he stays higher and plays as a 10, then obviously we're not going to control the game a lot more, which is why the conversation about those kind of old school 10s not really being in football anymore. That is why it's a thing, because teams want more possession, they want to control, they want to play the kind of higher percentage game. So it's a really weird one, because like I say, I love Martin Odegaard, or I loved Martin Odegaard, but is he at his best now? No. Is it down to him? Possibly. The injuries? Is it down to the system and Arteta? Again, possibly. And even when Eze plays, you see him dropping deeper. You see Arteta screaming at him to stay deeper. When he was playing on the left, screaming at him to get out wide. You know, Arteta's a control freak. So, yes, it's a really weird one. Have we looked better without him in the team? This season, I probably have to say, yeah. He's had good games, but overall, I'd have to agree with the statement.
I think it's because, like, it's tactical, innit? Like, if you have Odegaard, who's meant to be in the 10, like, when a lot of people go up against, and the City face the same, like, everybody wants to go man to man. So you got to think, if you got Odegaard, who's constantly roaming all over the place, it makes it really difficult for them to actually man to man, which then creates space for other players. Like, do you know what? Yeah, the first thing as well is he's not a 10. Like, he's just not a 10.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
He's an 8. He's just not a 10. Like, even when you watch him, he doesn't really want to be in those type of areas. He's more someone that, do you know what's weird? He kind of wants to be in similar areas that Zubamendi's in. Like, he definitely wants to be a lot deeper on the pitch. So I feel like Odegaard, as the captain, you know, I do expect to see more from you at times, but I feel like he gets judged unfairly because people are judging him as a 10 when he's not a 10. Like, realistically,
the thing is, Hooks, just quickly, if that is the case, just quickly, I think what Mikel Arteta has to do is say, look, I know you're my captain, you're my guy, you're my teacher's pet. I think he just loves him. He loves everything about him. But he's got to either drop him out the side, or he's got to find a way to play him as the 8 and put Eze in with him. Because we haven't seen enough of that this season, in my opinion. I love Zubamendi and Rice together, but they don't always have to play two holding midfielders. I think you can look to, I know they're not really holding midfielders, but you get my point. I think we tried to do it against West Ham, he got a shoulder injury. We tried to do it again in one game, he got injured again. But even then, when he did play it, Eze was the one that was in the 8 and Odegaard was the 10. If they would have switched that round, I'd love to have just seen what that worked like, because I truly believe that Odegaard is the Bernardo Silva, not the KDB. In fact, I don't think he's as good as any of those, right? But what I'm trying to get at is in terms of what their attributes are for Arsenal, that's what I think he is. I don't think he's a KDB. I think he's more of the Bernardo, the guy before the guy who knits it together and delivers it to the guy who's going to do something with it. I think that's what Odegaard might be, but I don't think Arteta sees that. I think a little bit like when he misprofiled Rice last season in this kind of Lampard role. Now he's box to box and he's brilliant. Yeah, I think he kind of needs to do the same with Odegaard, and I don't know that there's a position for Odegaard in this 8. If I'm honest, I think that's why.
I thought Rice was DM. I thought Rice was a DM.
Well, I thought he was an 8. I thought he was an 8. You told me, but apparently we're both wrong, and he's a box-to-box midfielder.
I thought he was another 6, mate. Come on.
Well, look, I preferred him in the 6 to the Lampard role, but I like him in this role right now. That's what I will say. So you were right, Kenny. But I don't know what you guys think. I want to move to the next question in a minute. But what are you saying, Marty, Kenny, Odegaard? What's going on at the moment with him?
Look, I think the Odegaard situation it's interesting. Like last night when I watched Eze, it was like he didn't do much, but the ball went in the back of the net. And it's like sometimes those unsung players add a lot to the team. And it's not noticeable, but the results are proven. Like last night, Odegaard was nowhere to be seen, and we got the result.
It's more exciting when Eze plays. Put it that way. It's more exciting to watch when Eze plays.
Yeah, listen, and that's it. But if I'm honest with you, last night when Eze played, he got hooked after 60 minutes, and it was like, "What are you doing?" But he got hooked, but we got the result. So. Listen, it's interesting, and do you know what? Have I worked it out fully? No. Obviously, Odegaard offers a lot of press, the intensity. It looks like Eze isn't doing that much, but when he plays, we're getting results. Apart from the Tottenham game where he was phenomenal. Other than that, I mean, listen, he's been in for a lot of criticism, and he has. Eze has been criticised hugely since his acquisition to Arsenal, apart from that game, in what he's done. So, look, you're always going to get that, and you're always going to, yeah, it's interesting. Like against United, who do you start? Do you start Eze? Do you start Odegaard?
No, like it's got to be Eze. It's got to be Eze.
No. But then,
No.
I
No,
get that, but then the thing is
Odegaard
offers a lot of press. He offers a lot to the side, but whereas Eze has been sort of guilty of going missing at times.
Do you know what it is, Marty, right? The reason why I say I play Eze instead of Odegaard, and I'm kind of hoping that's why he got dragged off in 60 minutes, is because, like Christian said, you look at the way City play in that midfield against Man United. If we play Odegaard, best believe we're going to do a similar thing. You know, he's going to be dropping deep for the ball and all that. And best believe Man United are going to come to the Emirates with the same sort of game plan as what they had against Man City, because it works so well against City, and we play in a similar style to City in a similar way, especially in the middle of the park. They might get some joy on the counter attack against us if we play. And that's why I think Eze's better suited in this game in particular, because you know he's going to pick up the ball and he's going to drive through the middle. You know,
Eze doesn't track back. He's notorious for not tracking back, whereas Odegaard
the thing is, Marty, he's not. The reason why I won't pick Eze for the time being is because the simple reason is that Eze represents a risk. You saw what Man United did when they got in amongst the ball players of Man City. You know, even Kobe Mainoo ran his nuts off. Fernandes ran his nuts off. They made some sacrifices. Casemiro. And what Man United did really well was keep the ball. Because Eze's a risk player, he loses the ball in possession, and he's not thinking. He's at Crystal Palace. He wasn't worried about, oh no, the right back's to my shoulder. What am I going to do now? Like, you know, what happened with Matty Cash is kind of put something in Arteta's mind about Eze. And the thing is, when Eze does get the ball as well, he's trying too anxious. Odegaard's in the team on default because of what Odegaard would do off the ball. As a shape, when we don't have the ball, Mick Arteta's got his biggest non-negotiable is when Arsenal are out of possession, there's got to be like a kind of a rectangle where no one's getting through, where they're thinking, should we get down the sides and put across it? No, they're going to clear it. Should we try and get through the middle? No, there's too many bodies there. And Odegaard represents that. He's the first press. Now, don't get me wrong, Odegaard's performances against Liverpool were non-existent. He got absolutely mullered in midfield against Nottingham Forest. He was like a Colts player. And don't get me wrong, there's extenuating circumstances, and not just because he got injured. I think I saw something against Brentford I didn't like, but I understood. But when you catch an Arsenal, don't do that again. Because of his injuries, because of the World Cup, I think that he's let's just say he's not liking or wanting to get involved in the physical stuff, and it's understandable. But when the opposition is winning the ball because you're losing that physical battle, you become a problem. Because I'm criticising Eze because he's losing the ball. I'm criticising Eze because he's holding the ball too long and he's not getting, into sort of like what I mean is that he's not in tune with how we are tactically. But if I'm criticising Eze for that, I've got to look at Odegaard, what he's not doing. And then, as the guys have said as well, I don't like Odegaard deep. Get away from there. We've got Rice there to bring the ball to bring the ball out of the fence. We've got Nwaneri. Just get in the number 8 and do what you're doing in 23-24 when you're close to Saka, you're close to Martinelli. That's what's really winding me up about Martin Odegaard. He's not doing the things that were successful in 22-23 and 23-24. That's why he makes me angry. And I ain't got a problem with the yellow belly in him because all the silky players are like that. But my biggest problem is that when you're playing, when you're not playing well, you try too hard and you try to affect the game. And then when you try to affect the game when you're struggling, you're getting away. So trying to take the ball out of defence, no, mate, jog on, mate. Get back in where you play your best football. And I think that's the conundrum of Odegaard. But the problem is, Eze hasn't done enough to collect the shirt. And the person who's next cab in rank is going to be Marino. Because Marino Arteta feels he owes him a place in the team because when he has played for us, he's never let us down. And even in midfield, tactically, he gets it off the ball, on the ball, and he's good in the ball. So Eze's got a mountain to climb to get in that team. If I was Arteta right now, and I think Arteta's not no man, but I've got to go in his head. I wouldn't play Eze because I wouldn't risk him against Man United, especially the way they press City. He'd be a risk. I wouldn't have him.
Well, you would play Odegaard against Man United.
Yeah,
he will play Odegaard, though, won't he? Let's just say how it is.
He's not going to leave a free man in midfield. Not because he's playing well, but from the shape. I won't play Eze. I can't.
What do people make of this comment quickly before I go to the next question? Rumble, big up to you, bro. And thanks for doing the timestamps, man. You're a legend. I think Nwaneri's gone out on loan to gain experience to take Odegaard's spot next season. What do people think about Nwaneri's future at Arsenal? Do you think that he could actually come back into the first team if he gets a really good... it's going to be Marseille, isn't it? He's going to go and join Aubameyang and obviously De Zerbi. What do we think of this? Do we think that he could come back next season and start for Arsenal, or is he just too young, too inexperienced?
He won't start.
Just quickly, what I'll say on that is, listen, Arsenal have done that with Saliba. Look what happened. Mikel Arteta has picked a side for Ethan Nwaneri to go on loan. He's clearly not getting the game time at Arsenal. So going out to Marseille, which is a picked side for him to go out to, get the game time, get experience. There's nothing wrong with that. Listen, I rate Ethan Nwaneri. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's a phenomenal talent. He needs game time. I'm all up for that, and I really am. If I'm honest with you, the hardest thing of that is, listen, when Arsenal win silverware this season, which they will, Ethan Nwaneri, there will be a part of that he'll miss out on. And that's it. He needs to go out. He needs to practice his craft. He needs to get experience. He needs to be around other players and try a different experience to get that game time. I'm all for it. I think it's a great move by Arsenal. And do you know what? Like people say, with Odegaard and Eze, listen, they're not going to be there forever. Odegaard and Eze listen, Eze's 27? Odegaard's similar age. Listen, I genuinely believe as well Nwaneri will go out for the next season as well on loan. And that season after, listen, we could see a serious player come into this fold like what we saw with Saliba.
I think he's gone to Marseille as well.
I don't like it personally.
De Zerbi. Literally, De Zerbi. I think that's why he's gone to Marseille, because De Zerbi he's like Arteta in the sense that out of possession, super important. Because that's the one weakness in Nwaneri's game, is off the ball. He's out of possession. That's why anyone thinking that he'll take Odegaard's spot next season, it's laughable. Like, he'll get minutes if he stays, he'll play if he stays, but he's not taking Odegaard's place, because Odegaard's off the ball is so superior to most. Unless Ethan really sharpens up that part of his game, he won't be a starting figure for Arsenal next season.
It's interesting, really, because I think we've seen that Arteta seems to prefer Ethan out on the right-hand side. Whether that is because, like Hook says, his off-the-ball game is not quite up to scratch, so it's easier to put him out on the right-hand side in Saka's position, where you're not going to have to do as well in terms of positionally off the ball or not, is a different matter altogether. I'm glad he's gone out on loan, because there's no way he should be sitting there on the bench and just not playing any minutes whatsoever.
But he's got a bigger problem than Odegaard, though. Ethan's problem is Max Dowman.
True.
That's Ethan's problem. Like, do you know what I mean? If he already has someone who's younger than him, who is seen as higher rated than him, that is actively competing for his spot that he hasn't even earned yet.
It's the same position though, Hooks though, because the thing is that the position that we tried Ethan at right forward, and then the Brentford game came along, and it's half time. I was saying to my mate, if he doesn't, watch the Brentford left back, he's coming off, and it happened. And since then, he's been kind of marginalised, and his positions he's been in the sort of like the Odegaard position. Because when Ethan went on loan, personally, I looked at it and I thought, right, who's going to get more seniority? Is he going to play ahead of a £63 million Eze? Nope. Is he going to play in front of the captain of Norway and Arsenal? No.